What's going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer, Tyler Horka here with our Monday post Marcus Freeman reaction video. Happy Halloween, folks, and more importantly, happy birthday to Ollie.
Yeah, he's not here right now. He might make an appearance. He'll come out of the woodwork as he does.
It's been a recurring joke here for the past few videos about Ollie's birthday every time he makes a cameo in the video. But yeah, let's talk about some key notes from Marcus Freeman's press conference. Of course, folks, do hit the thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. You can see Ollie more in the coming videos as well. And of course, if you like all of our content here at Blue and Gold, our Blue and Gold YouTube page, go to blueandgold.com, get all the written content. Maybe you can't watch YouTube videos at work, but you can certainly slack off and read all of our articles and scroll the message board as well. So $10 through the start of next football season. Mr. Horka, let's start with this whole discussion about home field advantage, because Notre Dame's 5-3 this season. And you think to yourself, man, if they would play at Marshall and at Stanford, maybe they are a one-loss team, because Notre Dame has played better football away from home than they have at home. Marcus Freeman, of course, he's going to push back on that. He said playing at Notre Dame Stadium versus Clemson on Saturday, of course, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff, NBC, said that's a home field advantage.
Yeah, and that's not a lie. I mean, that's factual. Two things can be true at the same time. Notre Dame has played its best football away from Notre Dame Stadium this year. You just saw an example of that at Syracuse with a 17-point win over the number 16 team in the country. And Notre Dame would still like to have this game in South Bend as opposed to in South Carolina's version of Death Valley. I guess I still think the real Death Valley is in Baton Rouge, and one Brian Kelly calls it home now, but that's a different discussion. But yeah, Marcus Freeman wasn't wrong when he said, heck yeah, you want to play this game at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend as opposed to playing it at Clemson. But on the flip side of that, are there going to be a whole lot of Clemson fans in South Bend at Notre Dame Stadium for that game? Probably so. The last time Notre Dame had a game this big at Notre Dame Stadium, you'd probably say it was Cincinnati last year. And Cincinnati doesn't have the big name power, but they were the number 7 team in the country, I think it was at the time, eventually make it to the college football playoff. That fan base knew what kind of season was in store for that team and what kind of year they were having, and they took over Notre Dame Stadium. The red was aplenty. Clemson fans obviously know they are 4 or 5 games away from making the college football playoff again. Notre Dame is sort of like a destination for an away fan. Last time Clemson played here was COVID. Clemson fans couldn't come. I expect there to be a lot of Clemson fans here. But look, yeah, it's up to Notre Dame fans to prove Marcus Freeman right, show up, be loud. Are there going to be some Clemson fans there? Yeah, but be louder than them. Cheer Notre Dame on. I think that's what Marcus Freeman hopes. That's what you hope for if you're a Notre Dame fan. But I am very intrigued by what the stadium atmosphere is going to be like.
I wasn't covering Notre Dame at the time of that 2017 game. I remember watching it on TV when the Irish hosted Georgia. And just remember there's a lot of red in that stadium. So yeah, it's I don't think the opposing fans get many allotment of tickets. It's them scooping it up on the third market. So yeah, you gotta.
And that just doesn't happen at other places. So Notre Dame kind of has to live with that. So like if Clemson is traveling to, I don't know, fill in the blank with another road game that they don't get a lot, because they don't get Notre Dame Stadium a lot. This one is the one that piques their eyes and like, whoa, I'll spend however much it costs to go to a college football game these days to go see Clemson play at this place.
So Freeman was asked an interesting question about how Notre Dame could potentially build their program like a Clemson. Because if you look at recruiting rankings, Clemson will have some, top 5 classes, but they don't sign a ton of kids. They don't always have these super highly ranked recruiting classes, but they are consistently winning, big games, making the college football playoff, winning national championships. And just that culture seems like something that could be like, look, Notre Dame's never going to be like an Alabama or Texas A&M, like kind of one of those schools, but it could be a Clemson. What'd you think about those comments, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, it starts at the top. Marcus Freeman wants to be what Dabo Swinney is to Clemson, right? I mean, what college football coach doesn't want to be what Dabo Swinney has been? He took remember after they won their first national championship in like 2016 or whatever it was, And Dabo Swinney said, little old Clemson winning a national title, and everyone gave him a lot of grief for that. But when you look at it, I mean, I've been to Clemson, South Carolina. It is little old Clemson. And for him to kind of build that at a place like that, Notre Dame has the staying power in college football, obviously. It's not little old Notre Dame, and it never will be. But if Marcus Freeman can be a Dabo Swinney and he can bring in these assistants, he talked about Chancey Stuckey today, and all of these things that have to go right for a program like that, it starts at the top. And then it's just a culture of, hey, our players see what we're doing as a coaching staff, and we're going to do it the same way. So I think he wants – I'm not saying he wants to be Dabo Swinney, because, look, like a couple of weeks ago, he said he doesn't want to be Brian Kelly, and he said the right thing when he said that. He can only be Marcus Freeman, but it's a coaching staff thing, man, because when you got the right pieces in place and you're pushing the right buttons and these players are responding to it well, you can be a Clemson and you can win a national championship, or in Notre Dame's case, you can win a first national title for the first time since 1988, right? It's trying to just break these boundaries, because as big as Notre Dame of a program as it is, it still has a couple boundaries, right? This is a program that hasn't won a national title in going on 40 years now.
Let's shift away from kind of this Notre Dame Clemson preview talk to highlight a couple assistant coaches. Brian Mason, I don't know, give the guy a blank check at this point. I mean, with Notre Dame's offensive struggles, especially in the more so in the passing games, the running game has been very good this season and consistent. You need, again, that running game to be good, the defense and special teams. Don't forget about that third aspect. 3 games in a row with block punts, 5 games this season with block punts. I mean, the block punts, like the biggest momentum swing play in football. I think that in an interception, I mean, that's huge. And an interception did swing the momentum away from Clemson and to Notre Dame. There's the pick 6. But yeah, focusing specifically on Brian Mason, Notre Dame's first-year special teams coach. I mean, he's been fantastic.
Well, I listened to Dino Babers' press conference, because that's a piece that we do at Blue and Gold every Sunday, is breaking down what the opposing coach said specifically about Notre Dame. And he basically called the punt block that Clarence Lewis had a block for a touchdown. Was it in the score sheet? No, because it set Notre Dame up on the 2. But when you have Audric Estime on that offensive line, that's essentially what it was. It was one play that led directly to a touchdown. And we've seen it a couple times for Notre Dame where that happens this season. So if you have a coach who can coach that up, and we get to talk to Brian Mason on Tuesdays now, and there have been some quotes out there that he's given us about how he tries to coach this and break it down. I mean, it's pretty tough when it sounds simple. Hey, we're going to get you through and you're going to go block this punt. But how many times do you see it, right? I mean, Notre Dame has 5 of them, like you said, and that's a lot in college football. So to be able to say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and then go do it, it's kind of like the thing that Notre Dame has with its running game, right? It's saying, hey, we're going to run the ball and you're going to try to stop it, but you can't, so we're going to keep doing it. Brian Mason is doing that with special teams right now, and it's crazy. It's like, hey, we're going to come block the punt. You know that we're going to try to come block the punt, but we're still going to do it. It's fascinating, and I'm not surprised in talking to Brian Mason, because he just sounds like such an intelligent dude. He's very meticulous about the way he goes about his work, and Notre Dame got a really good one when it brought Brian Mason in.
We're running short on time, Tyler, but wanted to mention Chancey Stuckey because he got a ton of praise from Marcus Freeman, and I've talked a ton over the past several months about him as a recruiter. But what did Freeman have to say about Stuckey?
Yeah, Stuckey comes from this Clemson tree, right? And I think I'm going to tweet out or put on our message board the story that I wrote about Chancey Stuckey a few months back or over the offseason. That, I mean, he's a heck of a football coach. He just understands. You have to get these guys that not only understand the players, and that goes into the recruiting side of things, but that goes into the sideline. Freeman was talking about him on the sideline. He's like, he's a guy that you want standing there with you, because you can only do so much when you're an assistant coach standing on the sideline during a football game, right? It usually falls on the head coach and the 2 coordinators. But if you have a position coach who's able to help you and get on the headset and say, hey, I saw this, maybe this is what we need to be doing. Chancey Stuckey is one of those guys. He's not afraid to give input. I think that's helped with the recruiting trail. I think he's getting the most out of a Notre Dame wide receiver room that we all talked about over the offseason, did not have a whole lot of tools, and then it loses its team captain in Avery Davis before the season even starts. But then in that first game, you get a guy like Matt Salerno making a big catch. Jaden Thomas had a breakout game against BYU. Braden Lenzy getting involved a little bit. Deion Colsey, a guy that we haven't talked about all year, comes up and has some huge catches against Syracuse, some chain movers on third down. So I think Notre Dame, as long as they're able to keep Chancey Stuckey, they have a really good coach in him.
Folks, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. Head over to blueandgold.com. We'll have tons throughout the week previewing Notre Dame versus Clemson. Head over to the site. Check it out. Appreciate you all, and we'll catch you next time.